Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Just continuing on my highlights from Johnny Depp taking the stand at the Amber Heard defamation trial. This is a really strange interaction. And it goes to show, I guess it goes to show kind of like levels of control and how people, narcissists, sort of work their way in, being nicey nice and I guess sticklers for routine as well. But this whole video details how Amber Heard absolutely lost it when Johnny Depp took his own boots off, because this was something which she did for him. It was her controlling a certain routine and situation. So he was apparently not allowed to take his own boots off because she had deemed herself the individual that takes his boots off. It's really strange. It's very strange behavior, but it is quite textbook. It's individuals that want everything to kind of be centered on them, even to the degree that they will sort of create circumstances by which they do things for other people. Therefore, they give themselves a purpose within someone's life, which I guess kind of goes hand in hand with a lot of what Amber Heard and the individuals surrounding her have even testified to, with respect to her in arguments where she would throw things to keep Johnny Depp in the argument so he wouldn't walk away. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. Now I know I've been doing these tidbits, these sort of highlights. The stuff from Johnny Depp was just getting interesting. They were giving a lot of background yesterday. He's going to be taken to the stand again today, I believe. And then I think this is where we're going to start getting the more interesting elements in terms of the meat of the defamation suit, situations that occur between them, you know, such and such forth. But I guess, you know, bear with this, because this stuff still sets the scene, and it is fascinating behaviour. And it's a shame, really, as well. You can see the levels of control. So there's actually two parts. Like I said, there's the boot situation, but then there's also an element where, and I've experienced this myself, actually, with someone which I dated, where normal things like couples going to bed or one staying up and things like that wasn't allowed. They would all, the control would be you'd have to go to bed at the same time. Very strange. It's an odd mentality. So there's an element of that in here as well, which is very, very strange behaviour. It's not normal. It's very insecure, which actually goes hand in hand with what Amber Heard's personal assistant had stated, which is she's a very insecure individual. Very, very insecure individual, in fact. So I hope you appreciate this highlight. There'll be much more stuff coming out surrounding all of this, I'm sure. But I will try to give you the main, you know, highlight videos, and then obviously break it down into very specific bits and pieces here and there for those that want just the specifics. But like I said, Amber Heard absolutely freaked out when Johnny Depp took his own boots off.
How did your experiences observing your parents as a child affect your approach to your relationship with Miss Heard?
Well, in the beginning of my relationship with Miss Heard, there was, from what I recall and what I remember, she was it was as if she was too good to be true. She was attentive, she was loving, she was smart, she was kind, she was funny, she was understanding, and we had many things in common, certain blues music and, well, music, literature, things of that nature. So for that year or year and a half, it was amazing. There were a couple of things that, I don't know, stuck in my head that I noticed that I thought might be a little bit of a dilemma at some point. For example, if I I worked quite a lot, and when I would come home from work, I would come in the house or the hotel, and she would sit me down on the couch and give me a glass of wine and take my boots off, set them to the side, and I'd never experienced anything like that in my life. I just never thought that was, I just never experienced that before. And it became a regular thing that she did, this kind of routine. And I remember one night I came home from work, and I think she was on the phone or something, and or busy. She was doing something, and so I sat down on the couch and I took my boots off, and suddenly Miss Hurd approached with this look on her face and she just said, "What did you just do? What did you do?" I said, "What do you mean?" "You took your boots off." I said, "Yeah, yes, I did. You were busy, you know." No, that's my job. That's what I do. You don't do that. I do that." "Okay, all right then." And then she said, "Let me get you a glass of wine." And she brought me the glass of wine. But I did take pause, of course, at the fact that she was visibly shaken or upset that I had broken her rules of routine. I thought that strange. And then once you notice something like that, then you start to notice other little tidbits and things that come out. And then within a year and a half, she had become this another person almost.
You mentioned earlier in your testimony that Miss Hurd would take off your boots when you would get home from work. What other types of behaviors did you observe in Miss Hurd early in the relationship?
Little things that you would you'd question in the back of your mind, you know, if she wanted to go to bed, I'd say, "Oh, well, I can't sleep, you know, right now." And rather than go and just lay in a bed and stare at the ceiling, I would say, I'll be either watching TV or hanging out. And that was just not acceptable. Just not acceptable. It would stir up some rather unusual reactions from her. I didn't understand why as a 50-something year old man, was not allowed to go to sleep when I wanted to, as opposed to when she wanted to. It started out with little things like that. And again, they just, they just, I suppose like anything, if they're allowed to continue, then they are allowed to grow. They're allowed to blossom into whatever they're going to become.